She was right. Take 3. But you know, Goldie, all this love that people keep stopping to interrupt our interview, right? But I mean, to me, it's appropriate because much like we're here today in the Cicely Tyson School to honor the life and legacy of former Mayor Robert Bowser, you know, you are also part of this life and legacy of Goldie Burbage. Not Bowser, but also part of Bowser, helping to support Bowser, but then also this city of East Orange that you guys call home. And so I just want to ask you, like I said, I was going to ask you before, what are we doing here today at the Cicely Tyson School? But what are we doing here today? Why are we here?
We are here to remember and to pay tribute to Robert L. Bowser, the mayor for whom I last served as a secretary. Unforgettable experience.
I want to say a couple things. One, you talk about the secretary. We talk about the history being made. And the current Mayor Green made a point to say that Bowser may not have been the first, but he's one of the greatest mayors. But you, I think, was one of the first African-American women public service secretaries in City Hall at that time. And so you, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
Set the record straight. Set the straight.
I was the first African-American secretary in the city of East Orange. I had taken the civil service test and had passed, but the powers that be at that time did not want to have a brown face in City Hall at all. So my family protested, and they met with Mayor Kelly, who was the first Democratic mayor, an Irishman from his heart. And he said, well, they don't want you there, but I will fix things for you. So I became the first legal secretary in the law department in the city of East Orange.
All right. And then we fast forward a few years, and you said you were working for Mayor Robert Bowser.
Yes.
You know, it sounds like we talk about, I'm going to say, this is what I want to say. Hey, I thought that was you. How you doing? I don't want to say I connect Mayor Bowser and Mayor Sharp James, but I feel like it's all right. I feel like I compare them because just like Mayor Sharp James, I give credit for bringing Newark back after the riot. You know, making it into the city that laying the foundation for it to be the city that it is now, where people fight over. They want to be the mayor. You know, back in time they didn't want to be the mayor. I give credit to Robert Bowser for doing the same thing for East Orange. That at the time when East Orange was not the East Orange that he grew up in, or the East Orange that you came to work in the first time, when the city was not in the same state it was that it used to be, he took over and kind of restored it to the glory that it is.
Very true. But I must give kudos to the late Mayor William S. Hart, Sr. He was the first African-American mayor of the great city of East Orange.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I came out of retirement to work for him.
It's okay, keep going. It's only going to be you and me. Go ahead.
That was a wonderful experience. And like Bob Bowser, Mayor Hart broke down many lines of education and opportunities that had not been afforded to African Americans. So it was a learning experience for me to be working for him, and of course it meant a lot to the citizenry of the city of East Orange.
What was it like? I mean, if anybody, I guess people here today knew who Bob Bowser was, Mayor Bowser was. But for people, somebody who didn't know who Bob Bowser was, who asked you, who was he? What was he? Who was he? What was he? Why was he important? What would you say?
Bob Bowser was one of a kind. There was only one Mayor Robert L. Bowser. I think that says it all.
Okay. All right, good enough. All right, and then is there anything else that you want to say? I want to say this. You know, one of the things about Bob Bowser, we talk about black people, and you talk about the racism and stuff that has come. And you know, in my editorial room, people always say, "Is Bowser? Is he black or is he white?" Because he was so light skinned, right?
Yes.
And I always say, you just let him start talking, and all that blackness will start spilling right out of him, right?
Yes.
That's not to mention his choice of wife, right? But I mean, to me, he was. Doesn't matter what you talk about, the book by his cover, but he was a strong black man,
Yes.
through and through.
He was proud of his heritage. He was proud of his race, even though there are people on the side, African Americans included, who thought he was an uppity person, but he really wasn't. He was down to earth. From his father on down to the other members of the family. They were all genuine people, color notwithstanding.
All right. And then I want to ask you this thing about the Sandman, right? They talk about the Sandman. That's some Apollo stuff, right? Apollo theater stuff. The Sandman come out with the hook, and you've been on too long. You got to go.
Yes.
And they were saying that Darryl Jeffries was saying that you kind of keep things moving. And I know you've officiated a whole lot of events in your life, but I guess the way to balance of the moment as opposed to the schedule. Sometimes the moment and the schedule they don't coincide, but you got to make a mesh as best as possible. Yes.
There's only one time that an event happens, and you have to take advantage of that time, the place. And the public, those who were here in the audience, we're mindful of that. And of course, Darryl was trying to do due diligence and keeping things on line with regard to time constraints. That is part of what he is to do in his position.
Right, to make things move, right? To make it run and make it go.
Definitely.
All right. Is there anything that you want to say about, let people know about East Orange or about your generation? Like I said, you guys, your generation, Bowser, you guys, I call you guys the old school East Oranges, right? You guys are, going your way, and so they're not going to not be around, but what do you want people to know about East Orange, Bowser's generation, your generation, and why you guys love this city? Even though you're from Orange, Trader, but go ahead.
Yes, Orange is my home. That's my first city, my hometown. East Orange is my second city. As a matter of fact, when I got married, I moved to East Orange, and I've been here ever since. So it's home to me now.
What do you want people to know about East Orange?
East Orange then, now, and forever.
Nice. All right, thank you very much. And then, you said I'm going to give you a little camera time to introduce yourself because you're helping her out. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Lancy Wirtz Marchand. I met Mayor Bowser at 19 years old because I worked for his brother. And it was just a wonderful thing. Evan Bowser structured my father and Hamilton Bowser were friends because my father was in construction. So I'm an East Orange. I wasn't born here, but I love East Orange, and I just want the best for it. I'm looking forward to Ted Green continuing to do things. I was with Mayor Bowser, and when he said a city on the move, and we really did have a city on the move. I worked with Miss B initially when I came to City Hall, but then I was over housing for 4.5 years. So neighborhood housing, I was managed there. It was a wonderful experience working with him. And
so I want to, it's interesting to me when you talk about working for the town and city, because when I talked to him, I asked him what was his leadership style and management style. He said his leadership style and management style was you identify a problem. You identify the person or thing that you think can solve that problem. Mm-hmm. You ask them what they need to solve, to do what you need. Ask them what they need to do, what you got them there to do, get it to them, and then get out of the way and let them do it, and then you check back in. And I thought that was I still remember that as a good model for management and leadership, right? You find a problem, you find the people you want to get it solved, go let them do what you brought them there to do, and then check on them, make sure that it's right.
I want to say that when he first came in, CDBG funds and other funds that we received from the government were laying dormant, and he had me do an aggressive home ownership program as well as a rehabilitation program. Mm-hmm. And that money moved the people in the city of East Orange. Homes were renovated. People were able to purchase homes with somewhat of an assistance for down payment or even at closing. And so I remember that Mayor Bowser on the move, the city on the move, and I think it was wonderful. I met Miss Burbage, and we've been buddies ever since.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. Are you guys going to the repast?
Yes. Yeah, they're going to. They'll be in a second. They're being interviewed, like you are now on the Tam Hammer. Yes, hold your horses. Whoever sent you, tell them to hold your horses.
It's around the just wanted to tell you because there's a lot of people in here.
Okay. Are you Fatima? No, you're not Fatima's son.
Well, one last thing.
No, that's the one with the. Okay. All
See,
right.
you
Thank
can't
you.
you can't make me forget it now, right? It's all right. What did I want to ask you? Oh. What many people don't know, well, it was said again, but we talked about Line A. We're in Essex County, we're in New Jersey. It's heavily Democratic, it's heavily political. You get Line A, you're almost guaranteed to win. But when Mayor Bowser first got in, he ran against that line. He ran against the powers that be. He ran against that system, and he won. And then he got in and he stayed in. I mean, talk about the historic. You haven't worked with Mayor Hart, the first black mayor. The historic nature of how he just now he's a orange guy, East Orange guy, but he went against the system, won, got in and did the things that were needed to do to fix the system. I think that sometimes that gets underrated, the fact that he ran off the line and won.
Right. It reminds me of James W. Kelly, the first Democratic mayor in the city of East Orange. I think I mentioned to you my encounter with him as a person who had passed the exam for the position in the city clerk's office. And East Orange was notoriously Republican. And it's very important for people to know and to realize that things are not what they used to be. East Orange was more or less an elitist community,
Yes.
especially for African Americans. If you were African American and you lived in East Orange, you were somebody. You thought yourself was somebody, and people on the bordering towns thought you were somebody as well.
Absolutely.
Listen, my dad told me that too. My dad told me that the way people, I guess, in Westfield, thing out in Westfield now, which is absolutely Republican, right? A lot of money. That he said when he was growing up, he grew up in the North, that's how East Orange was.
Yes.
It was the same considered that affluent thing. And like I said, the fact that Mayor Bowser ran off the line and then won in office. Like I said, any comments on that? The type of guy he was to do that. Like I said, his son said it. You thought he was crazy, right?
Yes, he did. I remember. I was on the youth program working to get Bob Bowser on. He was off the line, but we knew he had what it take to get things going. So yes, it was interesting to me because I had never worked with a mayor, someone trying to be a mayor before, and it was certainly rewarding when all of our hard efforts came to pass and he became the mayor. And it's been just a blessing ever since.
Talk about Muhammad Ali, shocked the world. Bowser shocked the world, huh? That's not bad. All right. And so I always have to interview you, Goldie. And you know it's going to come bother you. And I'm glad I got to speak to you as well. One day, spell your first name and last name for me, if you don't mind.
LANCIEMARCHAN.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let me
Lady.
tell you how I got into Mayor Bowser's office.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was already retired from Essex County College. I happened to see McNeely, whom we refer to as Malik.
That's what everybody talking about, Malik.
During my retirement days, I was doing whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And I happened to see Malik, and he said, "Oh, you're just the person I want to see. You know, we have a new mayor, and we need some help. This is his first time in office. Could you give us some time?" I said, "Now, Malik, you know I'm retired. Why are you asking me that?" I said, "You know I'm not going to turn you down because we go way back."
Yeah, they were
So
good
that's how I got into the mayor's office as a volunteer, helping out with his administration. I did not know the mayor. I knew of his family, and I did vote for him, and that's how I got to be in Mayor Bowser's office.
Oh, listen, that's a good story to me because just like he brought in Cordero, the 6-4 safety, he got in office. He wanted to be successful, and so him and the people around him, they went and got people who could help them do what they needed to get done.
Absolutely.
Right? It wasn't just because you voted for you helped my campaign, I'm going to give you a job now. He went and got people who knew what they were doing, and you knew what you were doing.
Happenstance.
Yes.
Happenstance. I just happened to see Malik, and he
Sometimes.
said to me, "You know, we need help."
Yes.
you know, happenstance is a big word, but sometimes it's just fate, Goldie. Maybe it was just the right thing to happen, right? I mean, because you did. I mean, and like I said, to me, that goes back to what I said. He said his management style was you find people who can help and do what you were trying to get done, and you did. You knew, you know, you had worked in the secretary in the city for so long. You knew how government worked. You knew how the city worked. You knew what we go. Why wouldn't he bring you in, right? Or drag you out of retirement, I guess.
It's same similar situation. He asked me, did I still have my HUD certifications to do housing and to know about programs, and I said yes. He asked me to bring them in. I went through HR, and that's the rest is history.
Yeah, see, you find people who know what they're doing, not just you're my cousin's sister's brother's son.
Not only know what they're doing, but willing to help.
Yes.
You can have the knowledge, but if you're not willing to help,
And he had a lot of that.
All right, and that's why he comes from a construction
you have to
background, so
give
he
of
was a builder.
yourself.
All right, that's why I talked to you, Goldie. Thank you very much.